Hello and welcome to My Community on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8. This is a show that revolves around the Africans in diaspora and by extension, the United States as a whole. Today we have a very important topic based on, occurrences that's been happening in the world in general. But, we want to focus on Africa because I saw a video of a lady that, she was dancing, she was happy, and all of a sudden she just relaxed and, leaned on a chair and she passed out from there, and there was nobody around her that can help, bring her back to life. And that was how she lost her life. So I called a friend, and I know she does this training in the United States. I called a friend. She's more than just a friend. She's a sister because we're family, really. And then she, she almost wept that day. And she was like, why are my people dying of cheap death? And that didn't sink well with me. So I had to ask her to come to the show to talk about, things that she can educate us on and how we need to go about, helping one another to gain life and all that. But anyway, before I bring her on, you're more than welcome to enjoy the sports edition with Bayonle and also the entertainment with our girl, Fauzi Aminu. In the meantime, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to your entertainment report with the one, the only Fauzi Aminu here on My Community on Afrocentric TV channel 15.8, and I am back to deliver the tea, tell you where you need to be, and give you the latest and hottest jams in the streets, because I'm the plug. This week, the first thing I have to say is Beyonce. I got to listen to that Lion King album, and that has been the best decision I made all week. I love every single track on there, from Mufasa's interlude to Spirit. This album did not disappoint me. If you saw me in traffic this week dancing uncontrollably, blame Beyonce, not me. Most people have said that their favorite track on the album is Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce, Blue Ivy Carter, St. John, and Wizkid. But my personal favorite has to be Already by Beyonce, Major Lazer, and Shatta Wale. What's your favorite song on the album? This album is clearly doing amazing things for everybody. Burna Boy had a solo feature, Jare, on the Lion King album, and since then, it's been announced that he's set to appear on Jimmy Kimmel Live. That's amazing, and I look forward to seeing what that's going to be like and what activities they do, because that's always a fun time. Burna Boy also has some more amazing things lined up, like the release of his newest album, The African Giant, on July 26th, and I want to know what your favorite songs on the album are. He said he is the African Giant, and now he is living up to the title. I can't help but applaud the young man. I'm loving the international wave everybody is on right now. The collaborations are insane. If you don't already know by now, Chris Brown and Davido have a song together, and I am so excited to hear it. I just feel like this collaboration is going to be really big. I feel like both parties will put in a lot of effort because there's a lot of attention on that aspect of the industry, if you know what I'm talking about. The song is titled Blow My Mind, and it's produced by Shizzy. And if you don't already know by now, Shizzy is the ish. You too can join in on this conversation by using the hashtag Entertainment Report across all social media. I want to hear your hot takes on all the hot topics. As far as upcoming events go, you absolutely need to be at the African Teddy Bear Comedy Show on Friday, July 26th. It's going down at the Firehouse Saloon, and doors open at 7 p.m. Like I've said, the lineup is amazing. Chifobi is coming through. African Ace is going to be in the building. Ophili Designs will be hosting, and only premium music by Bills and Sammy Juice. I'm going to be in the building too, but you won't know what I'm doing unless you pull up. Next up is Afro Basel Showcase at the Playhouse on July 31st from 8 p.m. And there's going to be over 100 pieces of artwork being showcased, 7 interactive rooms with activities, and a ball pit that you can actually jump in. There's also live entertainment planned, and all that kind of fun, fadgy stuff. That's the kind of stuff I like. So for more information on any of these events or to RSVP, please visit www.fauziaminu.com/events. Moving on to the top 3 songs this week. Of course, I'm going to put you on to Already by Beyonce, Major Lazer, and Shatta Wale, because the way Beyonce was hitting that already, I just knew it was a hit. Next up is Burna Boy's single on the album, Ja'are. And last but not least, you know that I had to do this for everybody else, is Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce, Blue Ivy Carter, St. John, and Wizkid. I don't know if you guys were expecting anything outside of the album. I told you guys that's all I've listened to this week. You guys thought I was joking. You guys can listen to any of these songs and the ones from the previous week on FauziaAminu.com/top 3. And that is all I have for you guys this week. And I know you guys are going to miss me because my juice is always sweet. But you guys have to come back next week so I can give it to you hot. Once again, my name is Fauzia Aminu, and this is the Entertainment Report on My Community. See you guys next time.
Hello, sport fans. Welcome to another episode of My Community Sports. My name is Bayonle Arashi. Welcome to the show. And of course, welcome to the sports segment. I'm starting today with not a very cheering news. It's a very, very sad one, but it's the one that is making rounds around the world of sport at this time. Junior welterweight Maxim Dadashev died Tuesday morning as a result of brain injuries he suffered during an 11th round knockout loss to Sobriel Matthias on Friday at the MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Dadashev was 28 years old. Dadashev was placed in a medically induced coma following a 2-hour surgery on his brain to remove a portion of his core. It's really, really, really disheartening to losing that young man. And a lot of people have been calling for the sport to really, really do something about the danger that is involved in the sport of boxing. Donatas Janusevicius, he is the strength and conditioning coach of Dadashev, and he could be seen in a video online during that particular fight, telling the fighter that, hey, I have to stop this fight. You're taking too many punches, and I'm not happy about it. I'm sure he could see what's going on with that particular athlete. He knew he wasn't going to probably make it through that particular fight in terms of his strength to match his opponent in that particular fight. But of course, he has also been hailed as hero in that particular one for at least stopping the fight himself, not the player giving up this time. And the referee of that particular fight could not stop the fight as well, because the punches that Dadashev was receiving doesn't really have anything to do with a knockout or anything in particular. But the coach could see that it was destroying him internally, and he has to put a stop to the fight. But of course, the athlete died, the boxer died at the hospital just 3 days after that particular fight. Very, very, very sad one. I must say, I am not happy about the news. Boxing is my second favorite sport after soccer, or football as we call it where I come from. But of course, Dadashev loss is a big, big one for the world of sport, and I hope that guy rests in perfect peace. The most saddening part of that particular news is that Dadashev is the Russian. He knew the boxing game was not developing as much as he wanted in Russia, so he decided to come to America, knowingly that he has to go through the system in America. So he qualified for getting a green card under the talent discovery. I don't know how to do it in immigration. And he was fighting to be able to earn a permanent residence of the United States, and of course becoming a citizen and bringing his wife and his young son with him to America. It is really, really, really heartbreaking. If you're an immigrant, you will probably understand what that particular fighter has to go through, and the reason why his loss is really, really sad for everyone. But moving on now to soccer, of course, goals from Tammy Abraham and Ross Barkley gave Frank Lampard's Chelsea an impressive 2-1 win against FC Barcelona in a preseason friendly played on Tuesday in Japan. That game was played in the early morning hours of Tuesday morning in Japan. Of course, it had no Lionel Messi, there was no Luis Suarez, of course, and there was no Kante for Chelsea and some other stars for Chelsea as well. But we could see some new players from both sides making their debut in that particular game. Ivan Rakitic struck in injury time to give Barcelona their lone goal in that particular game. Chelsea winning it by 2-1. Tammy Abraham coming through for Chelsea. Hopefully, he will probably be the first choice striker. You know that Gonzalo Higuain has gone back to FC Juventus. And of course, only Tammy Abraham and Michy Batshuayi are like the top strikers Chelsea have, of course, with the legendary Olivier Giroud in the squad as well. Ross Barkley and Tammy Abraham scored in that particular goal. In that particular game, we also had the opportunity to see £107 million signing Antoine Griezmann wearing the Barcelona jersey for the first time. He did some good stuff in that game, but he couldn't help them to beat Chelsea. Very, very good one for Frank Lampard and his young squad at Chelsea Football Club. Moving on again on the segment today, Gareth Bale. He showed up for Real Madrid on Tuesday evening for them in a friendly game in the International Champions Cup tournament going on across United States and, of course, the Far East Asia. He scored in the 2-2 draw against Arsenal. He came on in the second half of that game, played beautifully well for Zinedine Zidane, who has made it obvious that I don't want this player. He has to go. And, of course, a lot of people have been thinking, what is going on between Zinedine Zidane and Gareth Bale? Some people have actually gone as far as putting it together head to head while Zinedine Zidane was playing for Real Madrid and during Gareth Bale's regime. Of course, the stats are really, really different. But can you really consider the impact the two players made for both club sides and national team? I don't think so. I think Zinedine Zidane is a class act on his own. Very, very special player when he was playing. And you also have to respect Gareth Bale for what he has achieved as an international football player and, of course, for Real Madrid Football Club. He also lost a penalty in that game, but they ended up winning that game against Arsenal via penalties by 3-2. And that goes out to you guys out there. Do you think Gareth Bale is being treated fairly by Zinedine Zidane? Do you think he should be pushed out of the squad? With the way it's looking right now, he looks like he just wants to be pushed out of the squad. They're telling him, go wherever you want to go, but you do not belong to this particular squad called Real Madrid Football Club. We don't want you. And that is being said by his coach. Do you think it's been fair? Let's share your opinion with me via my social media handle at Midas Soccer on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And let's get that discussion going on this particular news for the day. Finally, for the sports segment on my community, Algeria, they became an African champion for the second time in their history. Last week Friday, that particular match was played. Baghdad Boneja is scored in the first minute via a very, very wicked deflected shot. I called it on the tweet I made after that goal was scored that day to hand Algeria their second African Cup of Nations AFCON title after 29 years wait. They had a 1-0 victory over the Teranga Lions of Senegal, who really, really roared back after that goal was scored, but they couldn't do just enough to equalize or take that game to extra time for that matter. Algeria, who were playing only their second final since 2010, held on to slim advantage for the rest of the 90 minutes, while Senegal, for the second time, they qualified for another final of AFCON, but they couldn't do enough. Aliou Cisse, we're hoping will make history on that day as another player and a coach to probably win the AFCON title, but he has to wait again. But I also think personally that Aliou Cisse has done very, very well with Senegal. He has done very well. We took them to the World Cup, and now to the Nations Cup. They went all the way to the finals. He should be kept in that particular squad to keep on developing the team. And of course, he has a young group of players. I think the oldest one, Sadio Mane, is about 27, 28-year-old right now. So they still have probably another Nations Cup title to compete for. And of course, the FIFA World Cup coming up in Qatar in 2022. That's about it today on the sports segment of my community. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, the loss of Maxim Dadashev really, really rocking the world of boxing and the world of sport. And I feel very, very sorry for the wife and the young son of that young star, and hope God give the family to bear that irreparable loss for them. Till I see you guys again next week, God willing. My name is Bayonle Arashi. Thank you for watching. See you guys next week. Bye-bye now.
Hi, my name is Oyinade Olanrewaju, and I am the Director of Operations at Roxell Emergency Management Training, Roxell EMT, and I am Afrocentric.
My name is Israel Olanrewaju. I'm an inspired city developer, and I am Afrocentric.
My name is Lara Akimiwa. I'm an IT analyst, and I am Afrocentric.
Welcome back to my community on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8. Well, I told you earlier that I'm bringing a professional to help us, highlight on reasons why things are happening to us and things we need to do to help one another in cases where we find ourselves or our neighbors, in case you have a grandma or even anybody living in your house or anywhere you are in the world, and you find out that something is not right about that person sitting next to you or in front of you, you can step in and resuscitate these persons, by giving them the first aid or CPR that you may call it. So with us today to talk about it is someone that I know is very, very, very passionate about cardiovascular, anything cardiovascular. Her name is Oyinade Olanrewaju. Welcome to our show on my community.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I am so happy to be here today. Glad to be on this, on this show with you. Thank you.
So let me first start, because I know I mentioned, who you are to me personally, but can you please tell our audience who you really are?
All right, I am Oyinade Olanrewaju. Some people go by Oyin, and some people go by Adi, Olanrewaju. By profession, I am a registered nurse with emergency nursing experience, and I did bedside nursing for quite a while. And now I run Roxell Emergency Management Training.
Roxell EMT.
Which is an American Heart Association training center based in Houston, but of course we have training center all over the city and even outside the state, and that's what I do. I am the director of operations for Roxell EMT and also the liaison between Roxell EMT and the American Heart Association.
Oh, beautiful. So tell me, what's got you into I know you're a registered nurse, first of all. So you went to school to become a nurse, but you're passionate about teaching.
Yes.
So why did you leave practicing as a nurse to training people and teaching people on emergency, what did you call it again?
Emergency management.
Management. So why did you get into that?
This is way back, actually. Teaching for me, regardless if it's emergency, if it's just classroom teaching, has always been something I've always been very passionate about. And growing up, I was that kid that always have a lesson note for the couches, the tables, the furnitures in the living room, because I really wanted to be a teacher. Well, when I finished my secondary school education in Nigeria, and it was time to travel, which my parents wanted me to travel to the U.S. to continue my education, and I turned to my parents and they asked me, what would you like to do? And I said, teaching. Which then we were using WAEC result, my JAMB result, excellent results. But it seems like I cannot take that excellent result and just become a teacher. I remember a very serious conversation my mom had with me and said, hey, listen, if you think that you're going to use my money to become a teacher, here's the deal for you, though. I have a college, teachers training college for you locally here.
You know I'm laughing now, right? You remember one time we were at your old house, the one in Richmond, and we were there, and I think mommy came from Chicago at the time, and we talked about something like this, and she was just looking at you like kilo mo yinso, like what is she talking about? You know, it was like you wanted to be a teacher. You're of all professions, why a teacher? And she was then a military person, right?
She was working in the military in Nigeria. She was actually, both of my parents, but my dad was in the Nigerian Navy and then my mom was in the Nigerian Army. So of course, as a kid, you have to change your mind. Who doesn't want to travel abroad? And you're going to let, because of just saying you don't want to be a teacher or something. So I decided that, you know what, let's go do nursing then. So I went in and I did my nursing. I started working in the hospital. Love it. Love what I do, don't get me wrong. But I find out that when it's time to discharge one patient, I spend more time teaching them than I actually spend doing the nursing work itself. So at some point, that burning passion for teaching came, and I said, you know what, how can I take my nursing education, my passion for teaching, what exactly can I do to merge these two together? I am not ready to start a new career. So I was like, you know what? I have a perfect idea. I am going to teach CPR. Just CPR was what I concluded. So I started teaching CPR. CPR is cardiopulmonary resuscitation in my dining room. And I started back in 2011, and I was just doing it, and it grew, and I love it. I enjoyed it, and I started one little cubicle office then, about 700 square foot to be precise. And we started training CPR. I added the ACLS, which is Advanced Cardiovascular Life Support, the Pediatric Advanced Life Support. And in 2012 was when I rented my first space. And that, the passion, and I always like to give all the glory back to God for what He has done. And today we have, in the Houston area, I have 4 locations. I have 2 in Corpus Christi, 1 in Atlanta, Georgia. We're getting ready to open our Chicago office. And the growth has just been there. And I believe it can only be by the grace of God that
That's right. And I'm glad you ascribe that to God. So now tell us, now that we understand who you are, what you personally do, and how you got started, what does Roxell EMT do as a company? What do you guys do?
Okay,
I know you have locations all over now.
Yeah, we do trainings. So we do, like I said, the most basic everybody knows for is the CPR. That is actually the list of what we do. We do the CPR quite all right. We do the ACLS training, which is for nurses, doctors that work in the hospital. We do the PALS training. We also do the trauma training, which is the TNCC and the ENPC. So we do training. We are kind of like the liaison between American Heart Association and the public, Emergency Nursing Association and the public, the American Association of Pediatrics and the public. They want them to have this training. So my training center provide these trainings for nurses, doctors, anyone, even the public. We have public CPR. So that's what we do. Now, one popular question everybody always asks me is, how did you get the name Roxell? Why Roxell? I'm sure you can understand emergency management training. Well, when I first started, I ascribe all glory to the Almighty God, which He will never share His glory with anybody. But there's also another person that is behind the concept of Roxell, which is my husband. The name actually came from him. Growing up as a child, he has always had Roxell written on his, when you make your little St. Louis carton, St. Louis sugar carton,
yeah,
with the milk rolling,
right.
You make sure that he write Roxell. Now, don't ask me where he got that name from, but it's one business that he created based on what he wanted to be. And there has been a lot of Roxell. So I looked at him with every support he has given me. How can I keep this passion burning for him? So I named the company after his passion, Roxell. And I just added the emergency behind it because I don't want that name to die. I wanted it to keep going.
Nice. That's beautiful. So now, your company does training for doctors, nurses, the general public, and all of those people. How does this impact other companies? Do companies, because I remember when I was the residential manager for high-rise companies, we do trainings for firefighter training. We have to get some certifications for that. My first job in the United States as a group worker, also when I became a supervisor, we have to administer medication to our students, the ones that are, just for first aid purposes, and we have to be certified to do that. And for you to work as a group worker also, you must be CPR and first aid certified. I think it lasts for a year or 2, something like that, right? Then you have to renew it every 2 years thereabout. So your company, what you do now, you do it for nurses, doctors, and all of those people, and even the general public. How does that impact businesses or people or even the community?
All right, so we do both the layman CPR, again, which is the basic one. Now, we also do for a lot of companies that have people, staff that needs it, just like you said. A good example of what you just said. The truth is, as long as we are humans and we have humans around us, and we have elderly, we have children, everybody needs to know the skill of CPR, the basic skill of CPR. Now, we it helps company because it will be a good thing, like what you do when you're working as the manager for a residence building that people are in. Anything can happen anytime. You know, and you have to know what to do. Your role is just to be able to respond until the experts gets to you.
Right.
Which in this case, 911 paramedic and the expert.
Right.
Just do something. Do the basic, the minimum to keep that person perfusion going.
So I remember watching a video, and I believe I shared that with you, which was what prompted us to say, you know, we need to teach our people what they need to do. Of this lady, I think she went back to our alma mater or something like that. She was so excited. She was dancing, you know, different steps and whatnot. And the children around her, the kids around her were very, very happy. And she was happy too. And she has her friends around her. And all of a sudden, she just felt like lightheaded, kind of. And then she leaned on a chair. And from there, she just fell. This is from a very, very happy moment. And she just leaned on the chair and she just fell. Not that someone struck her with anything, right? She just leaned on the chair and she fell. And that was how she passed. And I remember talking to you that day and you said, why are our people dying of cheap death? You know, and you felt like you want to do something, you know. How do people benefit from it? What are the things that people need to know? You know, for instance, if the person ahead of me or the person behind me, beside me, wherever, is not, you know, what are the signs to look out for in that person that makes me feel like, oh, something is not right with this person?
You know, today I'm going to just tell you about hands-only CPR is all that we need to know. First of all, let me acknowledge, you know, may her soul rest in peace. I saw the video and in all honesty, I felt really bad. That was a very cheap death. And in 2019, there should not be anybody, and I say it again, where we are right now with cardiovascular care, there should be nobody that will die so cheaply. As long as we are on the ground, we have a chair or a flat area to lay this person and we have people there. I can understand if she was by herself and there was no help around. But she was at a party.
People there. There was a lot of people
there.
around.
So out of that population, out of that crowd in the room, there was no one single person that could recognize that this lady needs CPR now. Here is what I want to tell everyone. If I'm sitting by you, or in front of you, behind you, and all of a sudden, I slump in my chair, or I just kind of look unresponsive to you, tap, shout, do anything, shake me. If I'm not responding, there is a problem. And I'll back that up because there is no time within a 24-hour period that human should be unresponsive. We often mistake unresponsive with unconsciousness. I can be unconscious. And that's exactly what happened when I'm in my sleep, when I'm deep sleep, when I'm in deep sleep. But with the moment you tap me, shake me, or do something, I should be arousable. So the moment you have somebody that you're shaking them, you're tapping them, and they're not responding to you, there's a reason why. Lay them flat on the ground. Look to see if you see any chest movement. If there is none, all of this should be in less than 5 seconds.
Oh, wow.
No more than 10 seconds because the brain is dying. Lay that person down to the flat on the ground, and I want you to begin doing CPR.
On their back.
On their chest.
No, you
lay them on their back.
On the back, and then
lay them flat
CPR
on their back
on their chest.
and start CPR on their chest. When I teach, sometimes I joke with my student. I said, if I shake you and you're not responding and you're trying to pretend for me, the moment I start doing CPR, it hurts because I'm on your ribs, and those are very sensitive area. If I start pumping on your chest and you go, ouch, okay, I know to leave you alone. You cannot do worse if you do CPR for them. In other words, if their heart was working, it was just slow, and you start CPR, you're not going to make it worse. You only can make it better. Versus if you assume that this person is doing okay, and you don't do anything, and their heart completely stops. And I'll tell you the science behind CPR. Every human being, before our heart actually stop, we go into what we call ventricular fibrillation. In other words, my heart just don't like, oh, Adi, I don't like you, and stop. It's not going to happen that way. It's going to quiver. It's going to fribble. The whole science behind CPR is to get them when their heart is in that ventricular fibrillation, when it's fibbling. If I jump on the chest immediately and I start to pump, I'm actually going to pump blood to the brain, to vital organs in the body. If I miss my chance, the heart is going to completely stop. Now they're so dead. We've gone from just fibbling to really stopped heart now.
Within a few seconds.
And it's just a very tiny window there. So again, if you see somebody that look unresponsive to you, you tap them, you shake them, they're not responsive, lay them flat. Make sure it's a solid ground, or you cannot do it on the bed, you cannot do it on a mattress or anything like that. It has to be solid. A table, you know, on the floor. Floor is always the best because there is always ground somewhere. I don't care if it's in the grass, anywhere. And begin to pump on their chest.
So even on the plane, I think this is much more than just the doctors or the nurses, even on the plane, because I remember flying in from, I think I was in Ethiopia, I was flying into, I was in somewhere in Africa, right? And thank God there was this doctor aboard the plane that day, or else that person would have lost his life. We had to make an emergency landing in, is it Tanzania or Zimbabwe, somewhere, and then, you know, they had to rush that person off the plane, and then so we can continue with our journey. However, I think also that even flight attendants need to understand this process, even a regular passenger, because you're sitting next to that person, you don't know what's wrong with that person. You know, it's a whole lot of things. The pilots, even if you're a rail, you know, a train driver or something, or if you're a bus driver, commercial bus driver, I think all of these people need to get trained to be able to administer CPR on anyone should they need it. But oftentimes, we don't see it as something we need, right? It's just training, because a lot of times we don't use the certificate. Like throughout, I was with that facility for like 2 or 3 years. I never used it. I never had to, you know, do CPR on anybody or whatnot. But maybe that's why a lot of people feel like they don't need it. I think it's just like insurance. You get insurance not because you need it right there and then, but emergency happens. Yeah. Right? And that's when you figure out that, oh, my insurance can actually take care of a whole lot of these things. So why do you think people are skeptical? Okay.
To be honest, the problem is we want this training. We've been asked to go get it. I have very few statistics of people that will actually sign up for a CPR class, which takes about 3 to 4 hours, depending on how many people are in the class, and say, you know what, I am doing it for myself. People do it because their manager, the director, or whoever has told them, you need to go get me a CPR card. So we do it more for credentialing purpose. Or you need to go to nursing school, and one of the criteria is you must be CPR certified. We don't really do it because we want to learn about it, and sometimes it's just ignorance. That's all. We don't know the importance of it, or we refuse to actually understand the importance of it. And I will tell you why I say we refuse. Even with the credentialing, people that need it for credentialing, there are times when people will call me and say, hey, Adi, my BLS card is expired. Can I get the card? And I'm like, no, you cannot. You have to come for the training. If I'm signing behind my name and I said, you are CPR certified, it means that I have verified that you took the course,
you're
and
trained.
you are able to perform these basic skills when something happened. I tell my nurses, I say, listen, if you fail and I tell you need to do this again, please don't think it's because I dislike you or whatever, but it's just because I feel sorry for the patient that you're going to take care of. So it's not that we don't see the importance of it, but just like we want to rush through everything else, we still do. Well, if you come to Roxell, it's not going to happen because you're going to have to sit for the class, for the entire class. You're going to have to demonstrate that skill to us, and then we'll issue you a card. If you don't, we are not going to satisfy you. So again, back to your question. We just do it for credentialing. We don't understand the importance of it. As long as you have human, and I'll say, and as long as you have kids, grandma, grandparent, grandpa, grandmom, uncles, aunties, anybody around you, we don't know when it's gonna happen. I have personally done it in the church. I've done it at Walmart. It's a matter of when. It can happen anytime. If we all know what to do, we can save a life.
But as Africans, you know, well, let's say now, is it something you're willing to take to Africa? Let me ask that question. Is it something
I've made attempt twice. 2 years ago was my biggest attempt, which I thought it was going to be a success, which is we were trying to, you know, if you ask nurses, doctors that work here in the United States, if your CPR card expires within 24 hours, even they won't even allow you to work 1 hour past the expiration date. They'll yank you off the schedule like now. Because that's the regulation from JCO, DMV, CMS, you know, whoever is their governing body there. So you will not be allowed to work. So we wanted to make that just one hospital in Lagos, the city of Lagos state. And the city of Lagos itself, not the state. We picked on a hospital and we were like, hey, listen, we want you to make CPR was all we asked for. We want to train the trainer. We want to train a couple of people in your hospital to become instructor for American Heart Association as an international center. And the only way it's going to work is, the goal is to make it state level, federal level. But I need the statistics that it works. I cannot take the US statistics and go show somebody in Nigeria and say, hey, listen, this is the number of cardiovascular disease or arrest that you have. So we needed a raw data from Africa, from Lagos. Like, okay, listen, before we came in and trained the trainer and make BLS or CPR mandatory for all your nurses, your doctors, all your hospital employees and all that stuff, this was your number you were dealing with. We're going to run that for a year and see, did it help? Which I was so sure that if I can teach them well, there will be a reduction in cheap deaths. They will know what to do, right? Based on that data, then I can walk on to the next level of trying to make it a state regulation and say, hey, listen, we've tried this out. Now, mind you, we weren't asking them to bring us money, because what we don't realize is there are funding available for these things internationally, especially to third world countries.
Oh, wow. So we can actually make this go over everywhere in Africa then?
Yes. When I didn't get success in my own country, which I call my own country, and it wasn't successful because, quote and unquote, the medical director asked me, what's in it for me?
Oh, wow.
And initially I played dumb because I wanted to see if he meant, you know, like for my staff, what are they going to benefit? So I went over, you know, statistics again, all over again. American Heart says, they said this, they said that, and all that stuff. But he's talking about himself personally, financially, what's in it for him.
Oh, does he not know that we have what we call the FCPA here in the United States, what we call Federal Corrupt Practice Act?
I cannot take the government taxpayer public money here in the United States and use it as
a bribe,
a kickback or bribe whatsoever. I'm going to be in jail, and I don't plan on doing that yet. So at that time, I back off because it was becoming like, seriously? And he needed to approve it because he's the medical director. So when I didn't get success in my own country, guess what? That funding I had, I took it to Guatemala. We rolled it out. They were super happy. I wish I speak Spanish, I would still be there. But I took that funding somewhere else that are very receptive to me, that understand that this is a help. University of Texas, MD Anderson has funding. American Heart Association themselves, they have funding. Because at the end of the day, we all go to collect numbers from the US. How did we do with CPR? In the UK, how did we do with CPR? In Australia, how did we do with CPR? We have to average everything out, including Africa. If one of us number is not interesting, then we're going to sink the other numbers. Then it makes it look like it's useless.
It's not successful.
So they're really passionate about teaching them. They're just not receptive.
So I think we have a lot of work to do in that regard.
Yes, we do.
And I would be more than happy to work with you on, trying to see if we can get the government agencies in Africa or some part of Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Chad, Sierra Leone, and places like that. See if that can help, right? So everybody needs this training. Everybody. You have to give me a discount if I'm coming for training. You just have
absolutely.
to. I'm family.
Yeah. And we offer it for free too, though. I always say, churches all the time. We play sports all the time. I mean,
I remember.
We trained my church.
Red House.
We trained key members of the ushering department, the healthcare department. We trained them at no charge. I'm not in this for money. I'm a believer in money will come naturally to you if you do the right thing. All I'm saying is, if churches can just volunteer their children teachers and say, hey, listen, you need to get this training done. There might be no certification,
I understand that,
but
right.
You know what? I would teach you the
basics,
I would teach, it's part of giving back to the community, but they have to be receptive and they have to be ready to learn the right thing. I will not do an incomplete job for them. No, it has to be.
So we'll talk to churches and mosques.
Churches, mosques, whoever, any organization.
We'll start talking to them. At least this is another avenue for you guys to get some certification. So not certified, but at least get the training needed. At least to and she said for free too. Come on, let's take advantage of this. So now, having said that, how can people reach you, Roxell, in general? How can Roxell be reached?
We are local. We're in Houston. My main office is in Houston. You can go onto our website, which is roxellemt.com.
Roxell is spelled R-O-X as in X-ray, E-L-L-E. Okay, so just one E.
Yes.
So Roxell EMT. So it's ROXELLEMT.com. Okay, so we can reach out there and schedule an appointment and see how we can. I would definitely talk to my pastor about this opportunity and see how we can get at least some head of departments to participate in these ushers, especially because they get to move around.
They are the first line of, they're the first people that actually see if anything is wrong,
When you say ushers now, I'm even looking at caterers. Caterers can even...
People can choke.
This is very, very important. This is something we've taken lightly, especially amongst us in the community. And I think you're doing a fantastic job at this, and we appreciate all you do, and at least the willingness to even access fund and use it to help African countries and even any third world country. So let me ask this one question before we round up. What causes heart attack?
We know the obvious ones that are very popular out there. You Google what causes heart attack, WebMD, everybody will tell you lifestyle, being overweight, high cholesterol, hypertension. That is so true. When you have any one of those factors going on, you are at risk for having a heart attack. But I've also seen where I have people that have one of those factors, in fact, two sometimes going on, and they never have a heart attack. But then you hear of this person that is so skinny, that looks healthy on the outside, and they suffer a massive heart attack. So, yes, they are correct. But the truth is, we need to all get medical checkup, which is something, again, that we as an African society, we have not done well. Women are doing great, by the way. We go. I think part of it is because women maybe will go to OBGYN and all that. We actually tend to take care of our health more. The men, you almost want to, put them to sleep and wake them up at the doctor's office because they just don't see a reason why. If I ask, when was the last time you checked your blood pressure? I'm asking the public now. Most people can't tell you what your blood pressure is. They don't even know when it's bad. They don't even know when it's going bad. That is not good.
My mother-in-law doesn't even joke with that. They call out you to a blood pressure, kind of like check your blood pressure, because you never can tell what's going on.
Tell. If I can catch it and take care of it, nobody should be dying cheaply because their blood pressure was too high and then you have a stroke and you're dead. That's too cheap. Because there are so many things you could do
to prevent all of these things from happening.
So let's start by making sure that we're healthy. Exercise, I know it's hard. Even for me, it's hard. But yes, you have the gym rats. Yes, but I always tell kids, with my kids, I say, we're gonna park far when you get to the store,
so you can walk.
So that you can walk. Just include it. If you make it into a hard work, it's gonna be hard. If you just include it into your lifestyle, it becomes easier.
It becomes a lifestyle.
It becomes a lifestyle for you instead of you taking it as a task that must be done. Park far away. Take your groceries out of the cart right there at the door. Hold them in your hands and walk back to the car. I'm saying little groceries. Say you want to buy 2 gallons of milk.
Right. Use the stairwell for the first 2-3 stairs.
Yes.
Floors instead of using the elevator.
Walk around for 10 minutes. The recommendation right now is you need to exercise 25 minutes 3 times a week minimum. That's all you need to do. Go to the mall. Window shop. Although sometimes that can be very tempting and hard, but you can do that.
Right.
Just do a little exercise. Cut down on your carbs too. We can't blame it all on the culture. Yeah, we say, our food is full of carbohydrate. Well, the American food is full of sugar. You just have to know how to control yourself. Those are the things that we can do. And learn that skills of CPR. Let your kids learn, your teenagers, let everybody. Right now, I
know I saw a video of Israel and my birthday mate.
They're learning how to do it.
CPR.
Yeah, I teach the kids, And right now, I know of Fort Bend because we do their trainings. Fort Bend, Levi ISD, we do their training. It is mandatory for their graduating school. They are graduating high school.
Oh, really?
To have CPR training. I do their CPR training. I'm going to be doing some next week.
Oh, you should talk to the Harmony School of...
we do Harmony.
Yeah.
We do Harmony
they
School.
They should be able to
they
do all
have
of those.
to learn how to... Teachers have to learn how to do
Sci-Fi ISD, I think, is it Harris County? The biggest ISD in the whole of...
And let's stop spiritualizing everything. There are times to go see the doctor.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Everything is...
no, it's not all the time the devil is after you. I think sometimes we intentionally wake the devil up, then he'll come after us after that. But we need to stop spiritualizing everything. There are times you need to go see the doctors. There are times you need to just go check yourself out. You have to make intentional effort to take care of me. Take care of yourself. Yeah.
So before we go, have you thought about, I asked you earlier if you're taking this to Africa before, but apparently you've attempted it, but it wasn't very successful. But now we can definitely revisit that sometime soon. Have you thought about franchising this business? Because I think
You
it's
must be
going to
working.
be.
Flesh and blood has not revealed to you because you must be, because we just actually we are currently in the process of rolling out our franchising opportunity, whereby you can buy a location of Roxell EMT and do the American Association courses and do the ENA courses, you know, just like we are, and you'll be able to. So we are empowering small business.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Out there, you know, and I hate to be very passionate, but I'm really chasing after women. You know, I'm very passionate about women in business.
Women is about to take over the whole world.
Yes. We are going forward. So this is a woman business, and I'm very passionate about women. You know, like, let's just take on the mantle and let's do this for real. So yes, we do have franchising opportunity. We're putting some finishing touches to the agreement. Our franchise lawyer is working with us right now. But yes, there is franchising opportunity coming soon.
And the military, have you done something for the military?
So for the military, you know what? They taught us what we do because they have their own training that supersedes everything that we do. Like, they got it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In fact, some of the research and the skills that we kind of borrow from, it's from the military. So they got it. There is no military person that doesn't have a very good training. I mean, you can imagine if you don't, what's going to happen, right?
I know.
Yeah, because you're exposed all the time. So yeah, as far as the military, I'm telling you, don't worry about the military. We should worry about our...
So that's something we need to do about Africa too.
Yes, we need to. Our policemen, our, you know, branch of militaries in Nigeria, teachers. Teachers.
Oh,
teachers. Man. You have kids in your care at all time. You need to know these skills for real. You need to know. This
is very, very beautiful.
It's very deep, and you know, the day you do it on a real I can only imagine. You know, my husband always make fun of me, like, you know, if my heart is going to stop, just make sure my wife is there, because he knows what's going to happen, you know. But I want every household to be like that, you know, yes, we're going to pray, yes, we are going to live healthy, but what if we miss anywhere there, and the inevitable, even if it's not for ourselves, for people around us, right? So, well, I just want to thank you so much. And your office is off of the Katy Freeway? We have one right there on I-10 and Cookwood. We have one in the Sugarland area. We have in the Woodlands, and we also have in the downtown Houston area. Okay. That's in Houston. Yeah. So, and you have in Atlanta, we have in Atlanta, Georgia, we have one in Chicago, Corpus Christi, and our Chicago two in Corpus Christi. So fantastic. Well, thank you for all you do. Thank you. Guys, if you want to, or when you need to, you know, contact them, please visit www.roxellemt.com. It's spelled ROX as in X-ray, ELLEMT.com. Please get trained so we can stop dying cheap death. All right? Well, again, thank you for joining us. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I am glad to be here. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. We hope to see you soon. All right. All right. You. Well, stay tuned for more. Hi, my name is Oyinade Olanrewaju, and I am the Director of Operations at Roxell Emergency Management Training, Roxell EMT, and I am Afrocentric. My name is Olanrewaju. I'm an inspired city developer, and I am Afrocentric. My name is Lara Akimiwa. I'm an IT analyst, and I am Afrocentric. Well, welcome back to my community on Afrocentric Television, channel 15.8. I told you before, this is something we do as a TV station that, you know, we help educate our people, show highlights about the services we render, and, you know, some of our people render here in the United States. And, you know, we bring Africa into the map, into the global map, of course. But we start right here in Houston. We hope you enjoy the segment. So far, we're only with Fauzia Minu, and of course with our very, very pleasant Oyinade Olanrewaju. She's taught us so much. We've been educated. I've learned so much now. I and my family, even my church, the one I'm attending, now we will have to schedule an appointment with them to get
trained. You know, I think we all need it. You know, we were talking about ushers from church, ushers even for caterers. At parties, people can just be choking of anything, and you need to resuscitate them, right? I give an example of, you know, being in that little capsule called the plane, you know, and someone was dying. Thank God for there was a doctor on that plane that day. If there was none, then, you know, we need someone to administer CPR. First aid is very, very necessary. If you walk where people are, you need to get trained, and they offer free training as well. Why don't you take advantage of it? So, but anyway, this week I hope you've learned so much as I have, and I've also been blessed. Until next time, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Afrocentric Television, and follow us on Instagram, Afrocentric TV. And the Afrocentric, mind you, is with a K, not the C. We are not just regular. We Afrocentric with color. You know, again, my name is Kola. Until next time, take care.